Sir.
All right, no, fire away.
Yes. When you look at evaluating your quarterbacks, what numbers are you looking at? The public looks at touchdowns, yards, all that. As the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, what are you looking at numbers-wise?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think win, first of all, we want to win the game and be balanced in what we're doing. And each game, I think, has a different narrative because of the defense we're playing. App State did a really good job of dropping guys in coverage, sometimes 8, sometimes 7, and felt like we had an advantage in the run game. And to Drake's credit, Drake's got a lot of freedom at the line of scrimmage. He checked several passes to runs, which is really good. Tells you a lot about him. He's all about winning, and so am I. So, we have the attitude, whatever it takes to win, that's what we're going to do. Not really concerned about all that other stuff. And number one thing is we win, and all that stuff will take care of itself, by the end of the year.
Well, Chip, just to follow up on that, like seriously though, I think about Roy Williams, that was UNC's basketball coach for so long. He'd always point to assist to turnover ratio. That was one of his huge things, or rebounding too. There has to be some, category that when you pull it up on Sunday or whatever, you're like,
no, that's a good point. I think it starts with, if you turn the ball over, we did not. He made great decisions, pulling the ball down sometimes when he needed to. I don't remember the completions and all that, what it was, but he had a high completion percentage. We were good on third downs, 8 of 13, I believe, on third downs. So, from my standpoint, he was very, very efficient. And like I said, he's got a lot of freedom, and it's nice to see a guy, put the team first, and that's what he's done his whole career here. If you think about it, the 1 minute drive there at the end of the game to get us in position to kick the field goal, that says a lot about who he is. That's why I think he's the best player in the country at that position, because when the game was on the line, he played his best and took us on a drive and put us in position to win, and did some of his feet, also made some good throws. So I think he's playing really efficient. I think he's doing a really nice job. And as obviously every week you look at it, and it's never as clean as you want, okay? And that's all the way around. But I think we're making a lot of progress, and I think our offense for sure showed a lot on Saturday night. Going through that, having the ball not as many times as we had hoped, and really continuing to do the things we had to do to win the game, which is run the football and hit shots when we could. And really proud of how our guys kept battling. Lots of things to clean up, but at the end of the day, I was really pleased with it.
Most of his pass attempts were inside 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Is that something that's just, it was there? Was that taken away something else?
Yeah, those guys were playing two deep safeties and dropping a lot of guys. So, you're always trying to take what the defense gives you, so forth. Now, we did hit a couple of shots. We missed one early, too, that I thought we had a shot to hit. A guy was running free. And then we hit the big one there. What was that, the fourth quarter maybe? We hit the big one down the field. So, yeah, they did a nice job, and those guys are really good coaches. They're friends of mine. Talking to them after the game and stuff, they were doing their best to keep Drake from throwing it over their head for sure. And I think that's why Martin Hampton probably had a big day.
When Amarian gets rolling, what have you seen the growth from him and sort of results in that game since you got there?
Yeah, I think for me, what I've seen is his vision is so much better. I think he does a great job of understanding where our double teams are, what the front is. That gives him a hint on kind of where his eyes should be. I think Larry's done a great job with him, getting him to get his shoulders square and get downhill. And that's kind of our approach, is we want to be a downhill run football team and not try to run side to side as much. Even our wide zone, we want it to be an attitude, physical play. And I just think Martin's done a nice job of that. Bridge did a great job the week before. Caleb got in there this week and had several good runs. So I think we're continuing to improve. And, our guys up front, I thought for the most part, we got hats on hats. Did have a couple of times where we were a little high and got knocked back, but at the same time, I like the way our backs are running the ball downhill.
Chip, with the Wildcat, Mac was mentioning that it was more execution than play calling, and he sort of talked about the tight ends need to block better on those plays. Is that a discussion that you and he have had with Freddie since the game ended?
Oh, yeah, we discussed every play for sure. It was one of those things where they loaded us up and probably, early on was moving the front more than we had anticipated maybe, and that's why we got to the gaps, got out of the gap scheme so much and went back to our zone scheme. Just felt like after those first two deals where we didn't execute in the short yardage, and we felt like, hey, it's going to be safer to stay in the zone world instead of the gap scheme world. And based on those guys playing, men front and doing some things and movement up front, and the backers running through and trying to overload us in the box, I think that was their plan. And so good job by our staff. We adjusted and went to our zone scheme and executed a lot on the short yardage there toward the end of the game.
I wanted to go back to your running backs, Omarion Hampton specifically.
What's that now? I couldn't hear you.
I wanted to go back to your running backs.
Yeah.
Omarion Hampton specifically. Matt had said that, the performance that he had this past weekend, like, you guys have been seeing that or whatever throughout. But what was it that was so special about this game against App State where he was able to break out like that? And how was it for you to know you have a weapon like that?
Well, I think, since I've been here, I've been impressed with him. He's a big physical guy, runs downhill, moves the pile when he hits it. You can see that on film. And I just think, again, he continued to grow using his vision, being able to run through to arm tackles. British has done a nice job with that as well, and Caleb. But just, it was fun to see him, you can see on the long run, he runs well too when he gets out in the open field. I think he was a sprinter in high school too. So just really pleased with his progress. Thought he made some really good runs, and we need to continue to do that each and every week.
You don't see a lot of 5'11" offensive linemen at Power 5 schools, but with pad level being so important, Willie uses that to his advantage. Every picture I saw that we took Saturday, he's into the pads, he's under the guy, and he's moving.
Yeah, he plays with great leverage. I mean, he's a high school wrestler, really good wrestler. Willie's plays extremely hard every snap, tries to finish with his man in the end zone, which is what those guys try to do. And again, his leverage and ability he's really strong, plays with his hands inside, doesn't get overextended a lot. He has to use all that at his advantage, obviously, because of his size, but he makes up for it with great technique and really good fundamentals and plays extremely hard.
Sometimes saying an athlete plays with a chip on his shoulder maybe is overdone.
Yeah.
He's really a guy that actually does that.
I think Willie approaches every day that way. Even in practice. I mean, even when you're going against scouts and so forth, he's playing every rep like it's full speed, like it's a game tempo. And I think you're right. He plays with an edge, that's for sure. We want our entire team to play with an edge, but Willie, I think, embodies that as well as anyone. And really, really excited about him. He continues to improve and get better. And again, I think his wrestling background is huge in that.
Chip, how much do you have to adjust what you're doing at tight end, who you're using, your packages with the club that's on Copenhagen's hand? I mean, obviously, can't catch the ball like that. Like, what do you change, or what do you do?
It was definitely something we had to consider this week. I mean, I think as the weeks go, we'll get back to maybe not as concerned about that. But going in this week, for sure, we play all three of those guys. So, we had to go through and say, okay, we want these guys in for these plays and so forth, and do a good job. But I noticed yesterday, if we can make sure that thing heals the right way, we'll get it back quicker. So we don't want to take any chances. So we'll just have to adjust our game plan, see how it goes. But all three of those guys are capable of doing any of the things we ask them to do. And I thought Kamari and Bryson both played a little bit more snaps. Cope got in there some too. But as versatile as we can be with all three of them, it'll help us.
Diego, what did you see that you felt like he would be effective on Saturday, and then how would you sort of grade out his performance on Saturday?
Yeah, I would say probably, he probably graded out in that B area. He did some really good things. First start, I mean, I know he was excited. I'm sure he was nervous. But, I thought he did a really nice job. His hand placement was much better than he'd been in practice, something he's been working on. He's just a big human being, so it's good to get behind him and run behind him. And I think he's doing a better job of learning how to strain and finish. And I thought for his first start, I thought he made a lot of strides, and we're excited about him. Hopefully he'll continue to improve.
How excited are you to finally take the training wheels off of Nate McCollum? It seems like he's full go in practice this week.
He's feeling a lot better. Going into Saturday, you don't know if he's missing time and so forth, but Nate's going to be a really good player. We need him to get more involved and make plays in our offense. I think you'll see that as the season plays out.
What was, obviously Omarion had the big home run, like, did you have a favorite of his run? Yeah, I think he had 26 carries, like, did you have a favorite that you liked that you?
Well, I like all the touchdowns they scored,
yeah.
of course, but you know, the first run of the game, if you go back and look at that, there was a guy there, they had kind of brought the safety down, had an extra guy there, which we thought might be a possibility, but you know, he just lowered his head and got his pads low and kind of ran through that guy. The guy made a tackle for 7 or 8 yards, and I think that set the tone, and you know, and that's what we want. We want to be physical and downhill, and the more we can run the ball and be effective, the more opportunities we're going to have down the field with Drake and our wideouts and so forth. So I think that was a good one. But if you go back and watch all of his runs, he did a great job of making a decision. One power, I remember he went backside on it.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. You're using his vision, but all of his runs, he really didn't stop his feet much. And that's a testament to the O-line too. He got downhill, and that's what you want. You want guys that get vertical and make one cut. Really, he did that, and he also protected the ball, carrying it that many times. Did a great job protecting the ball as well.
It looked like the vision was there on the big touchdown one where he sort of bounced a little and just took off.
Yeah, we got into an unbalanced set there, and you know, they adjusted to the unbalance pretty heavy, and you know, he did a great job because our aim and point was downhill on that, you know, right up the center, and he did a great job bouncing the front side. Sometimes it's hard to see as a running back. So, you know, again, I think his vision's improving. We all got work to do to get better, but I like his progress so far.
Looked like
Time for one more short one.
Looked like on a lot of those, some of his runs that the receivers were blocking well.
Yep.
I think Gavin at one point
Yep.
made his guy for about 10 or 12 yards.
He did.
How much progress have you seen from the receivers blocking, and how crucial is that once Omari or whoever gets to the second level and they can get more because of his receivers?
Yeah, it's critical. It's a great point. Our receivers, you know, Lonnie is really, he's not going to play them unless they'll go in there and block. At least get in there and give great effort and tie guys up. And you don't have to really knock them always out or knock them down. You just need to be where you're supposed to be. And our guys are doing a better job of that. And I think you see that. That's why you're able to, you know, the long runs, I think, come from, obviously you're going to make one guy miss probably, but really it's a testament to either we're carrying our fakes out, holding the backside safety, or our receivers are going in there and blocking. And, you know, it's something we stress a lot. And hopefully we'll continue to have some more long runs.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate it.